This is the truth about solo travel from someone who's been doing it for almost a decade. I know that you hear all kinds of things on the news, you hear all kinds of things from people who frankly haven't solo traveled before. Some people make it seem like it's so rosy and perfect and awesome all the time, and other people make it seem like it's terrifying and scary and you should never do it. So today it's time to spill the tea. The first big misconception that people have is that solo traveling is inherently dangerous. Oh, this one is just so annoying to me, but I understand it because a lot of the times whenever we see something in the news about something happened that was bad, it's like, why was she out by herself? Why would anyone ever do anything alone? The truth is that most of the time when people travel, nothing bad happens. They come home in one piece and they have a really good experience. I have a whole video just on things that you should avoid when you travel alone, but the biggest thing is just not getting too intoxicated and behaving on the road like you would at home. So a lot of the rules that you follow and hold sacred at home to have survived as long as you have will keep you alive on the road as well. And it really doesn't seem to me that having another person with you necessarily means that you're going to be safer. Sometimes that other person might make decisions for the both of you that aren't good. The thing about traveling alone is that your intuition gets sharper. You don't have anyone distracting you, and so you're totally taking in your surroundings, and when you are responsible for everything that happens, I think we take it upon ourselves a little bit more than we normally would to make sure that what we're doing is safe. We do a little bit more research. We talk more to the people around us to try to learn things. We know that it comes down to just being us who are making those decisions, who are making the call. So just like you go out and you do things alone at home, this isn't that different, honestly. I think the next biggest misconception, and the one that I definitely had before I started traveling alone, is that it is lonely. Why wouldn't traveling alone sound profoundly, horribly lonely? The first big solo trip I did was when I straight up moved to Taiwan when I was 21 years old. I was terrified. I booked a hotel for me to stay in for the first 3 days, and then by then I had to have like a bank account, I had to be enrolled in language school, and I had to already have signed a lease for an apartment. So number one, I put tons of pressure on myself. I actually wanted to come home because the first few days of being in Taiwan were so lonely for me and so difficult that I was just like, this can't ever be fun. My mom talked me out of it, and I'm so glad that she did because I ended up meeting people, and people make the experience, and it was really wonderful and awesome by the end of it. But I learned something from that, and that is that you've got to set yourself up for success. You know, back in the day, I hated being alone. I hated it so much. When I booked my trip back to Bangkok 9 years ago with a one-way ticket going on this trip by myself, I asked everyone to come with me first. I still didn't want to do this alone. However, no one was at the point in their life where they could just drop everything and come travel with me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this by myself. And I ended up having the most social, amazing, beautiful experience ever. The wonderful thing about traveling alone is that you're going to meet tons of other people who are also traveling alone. I do recommend staying in hostels. People of all ages stay in hostels in most of South America, Central America, South Africa for sure. Most of Africa, you're gonna meet people of all ages at the camps and backpackers and lodges. Don't completely rule out hostels just because you're a little bit older. Oh, China as well. That's another place where you'll meet people of all ages, all countries. Hostels are awesome in China. Another good way to meet people is by signing up for activities. Like when I was in Taiwan, I could have signed up for something, maybe a walking tour just to meet other people. I could have used meetup.com. I could have used Facebook groups, which are much more robust now than they were then, but there are all kinds of online forums where you can meet up with other people. I created one called the BMTM Solo Female Traveler Connect. So if you want to make sure that you're going to meet people, there are ways to set yourself up for success. The number 3 biggest misconception about solo traveling is that it's going to be more difficult somehow. The ways in which it can be more difficult is if something goes wrong, it's going to be completely up to you and you alone to figure it out. At the time, this will seem shitty, but I've learned what I've made of from this. I am the quickest problem solver I know. When something happens, I'm like, okay, what are we going to do about it? I immediately get to problem solving. I don't cry over spilt milk because I know it's pointless. But if someone else were there to maybe pick up the pieces and like do all the heavy lifting for me, I would never have become so confident in my own abilities to problem solve. And I'm so much more willing to take risks in my life in terms of business, in terms of saying yes more, in terms of being willing to be uncomfortable because of the times when I was sort of forced into that situation traveling. And I actually think we need to be thankful for these opportunities. At the end of it, you're gonna look back on it and you're gonna be like, I fucking did that. And it feels really good. I had someone say that traveling was so difficult because she had to make all of the decisions. She had to choose where to eat. She had to choose what to do. And this was just so exhausting for her. But how would it look if it were easy? Just pick a place to eat. Not a big deal, just do it. Just pick what you want to do on a whim and be really grateful that you don't need to take anyone else's thoughts, needs, or considerations into account. No one's going to be disappointed with the choice you make. No one's going to argue with you and want to do something different. So I would take that actually as a good thing, that you get to be totally selfish, maybe for the first time in your life. The word selfish has this negative connotation, and it probably should in most applications, but not when it comes to your trip that you've planned for, you've wanted to do your whole life. Everyone should be selfish once in life. The next common misconception is that it's somehow gonna be more boring to be by yourself. No one's gonna be there to share this beautiful experience with. It is easier to meet people, frankly, when you're by yourself. There's often room for one more person. The amount of things I've been invited to that ended up making the coolest stories later, the amount of things that happened where someone would be more interested in talking to me, especially a local who kind of wanted to take me under their wing, that happens so much more often when I'm by myself. It just does. You're not as approachable if you're a couple. You're not as approachable if you're in a group. People who are traveling alone are going to approach you more often if you're alone. It's just kind of how it works. And I find that I am also more outgoing. And my craziest stories truly have pretty much all come from the times when I was traveling by myself. The final misconception I think people have is that solo traveling is somehow less appealing and it should be a last resort. I certainly shared this feeling back when I was first trying to travel. I asked my best friends, all of them. I asked people who weren't even that close of friends. I asked my cousin. I started really going down the line until I realized that I was gonna have to go alone. And all these misconceptions that I've talked about so far in this video are misconceptions that I had about traveling alone. So I went out there scared, petrified, terrified of the whole thing, and I ended up having seriously the best time, and that is why I love and advocate solo traveling so much. I don't think it should be a last resort. In fact, I think everyone should do it at least once in life, because you finally get to hang out with the you that no one knows, the you that you might not even know, the you who exists independently of anyone else's opinions or historical knowledge of who you are. We act a certain way when we're around people. They reflect back to us certain things that we end up defining ourselves by. And when you're by yourself, you're gonna start to learn exactly who you are. And I think everyone deserves that choice in life, that chance in life, that opportunity to be like, okay, who am I really when I'm not trying to fit into a predefined box, when I'm not trying to be a girlfriend, a daughter, a niece or whatever, a classmate. I'm suddenly just Kristen. So who does Kristen really want to show up as? So I really encourage you to use solo traveling as an opportunity to be like, okay, what do I really want? Who am I really? And what do I want to come home knowing better? So for me, solo traveling has time and time again been the better opportunity for me to really have an immersive experience, one where I get to know myself and my surroundings a little bit more deeply, a little bit better. And I often do have something come up where I have to be the problem solver, and at the end of it, I always look back and I say, wow, I did that. So I want you to have that same opportunity. There is so much content on this channel about solo travel. You can watch my vlog about solo traveling in Utah, and then I have more information about how you can stay safe when you solo travel as well. And don't forget to subscribe. Love you guys. See you soon.